A group of knights had only stopped by the lakeside to rest and make camp. They never expected to disturb a water nymph who dwelled in the lake. She emerged from the water, dressed in golden robes, and began dancing gracefully atop the waves. The knights stared at her with lustful eyes, captivated by her every move. But suddenly, the nymph let out a piercing scream. The men began to move toward her, unable to resist some unseen force. One by one, they rushed into the lake. Moments later, they all drowned beneath the surface. Only one knight remained on the shore. When the nymph noticed him, she shrieked again, but the man didn't respond at all. Stunned, the nymph stared in disbelief. She thought her magic had failed, so she slipped back into the water. What she didn't know was that the man was deaf. Eventually, fear crept into the man's heart. Panicking, he jumped on his horse and tried to flee, but he crashed into a tree and passed out. When he came to, his horse was nearly dead. With no other choice, he continued on foot. He reached a quiet riverbank that felt safe. Exhausted, he fell asleep there. That night, the nymph emerged again, drawn by curiosity. She quietly lay down next to the sleeping man. At dawn, the man awoke to find the nymph beside him. Startled, she tried to escape. He reached out to grab her, but her scales slashed his hand. On closer inspection, he saw they were golden scales. A strange smile crept across his face. He chased after her without hesitation. Finally, near a waterfall, he caught her. But instead of resisting, the nymph tried to charm him. The man, however, used the chance to rip the gold from her body. He knocked her unconscious, and didn't stop until he had taken every bit of treasure from her. Then he tossed her off the waterfall. A short while later, the waters turned blood red. Thirsty, the man drank from the river, and miraculously, his hearing returned. At first, he couldn't handle it. He ran through the forest in agony, overwhelmed by sound. Meanwhile, the nymph came back to life. Seeing her wounded body, she let out a cry of despair. The man heard her. He turned toward the sound, and the nymph saw him too. This time, her dance was filled with sorrow, and the man, just like the others, lost control and ran toward the lake. In the end, he drowned in the same dark waters as the rest.